Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's a graduate of Northeastern University, celebrating his 15th year as lead singer of the Platters Live. Not only a singer and songwriter of gospel and R&B music, he's also a two-time award-winning actor, which includes an NAACP Image Award for Best Actor in a Lead Role, and also the ADA Award for Best Actor performing as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And recently, he won Best Actor in the International Independent Film Awards for his role in Catch the Bus. And we're going to find out the meaning about that. He also has his latest single, You Can Give Love, and CD, Whosoever, available on all streaming platforms as well, too. And just an amazing gentleman. And what's Catching the Bus about? Well, we'll certainly throw the ball on this one. Live, ladies and gentlemen, Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, the multi-talented singer, songwriter, and actor of the amazing new film, Catch the Bus. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Peyce Byron. Peyce, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Peyce. So you're a graduate of Northeastern University, celebrating 15th year as a lead singer of the Platters Live. You're not only a singer, songwriter of gospel and R&B music, you're a two-time award-winning actor, which includes an NAACP Image Award for Best Actor in a Lead Role, also ADA for Best Actor performing as Dr. Martin Luther King, and also you have a latest single, You Can Give Love, and the CD, Whosoever, on all streaming platforms, and you also are in a film called Catch the Bus, and this was part of the Hollywood Reel Independent Film Fest, and just an amazing story. And you kind of like to throw the ball on this one instead of throwing it under the bus. And before getting all that piece, tell us how I first got started.
Oh my, I first got started when I was pretty much 3 or 4 years old in my dad's quartet, because I'm originally from Tennessee. And I was singing quartet music with them in their group, and I would do leads every now and then. And so from 3 to about I'd say 8 or 9 was when I really actually started to become even more creative, and I started to write music, things of that nature, and develop a singing voice, because my whole family could sing, but I started to get my own sound and whatnot. And then from there, I started to round about my high school year, because I was also a jock, an athlete, so I played football and that kind of thing. But also wanted to create, and I was in a small town in Hartsville, Tennessee. We only had junior and senior plays. That was also, you couldn't do a play till you were a junior or senior. And so I did my first play as a junior called I think Second Time Around or something like that. And I played a lawyer. And hearing the applause, Mike, and although I'd been a jock, and I mean, Hartsville's like a football town, so, but hearing the applause on stage, I mean, man, that did something for me. So that made me decide, okay, I think this is really what I want to do. And so that led me to, a couple of years later, I went to Texas, and I went to a school called St. Edward's University. And I was there for 2 years. And while I was there, I did what we called major productions, where it was not just regional theater, but it was where they had the star system, where they would bring in a well-known actor, and they would rehearse for about 3 to 4 weeks with a cast, and then put on the show for another 2 or 3 weeks. And so while I was there, I was able to be cast in 3 major productions. One of those was with a star by the name of Leif Erikson. He was an old cowboy. He did a lot of cowboy movies. He was in this TV show called High Chaparral. And I played the porter. That was my first one. And then after that, we did Petrified Forest. And that was Humphrey Bogart made that one famous, because he was, but Humphrey Bogart wasn't in this one, but he made it famous in the movie that he did earlier. But Edward Mangum, who was the director, he chose to make Duke Mantee's gang, because that's who he played. He chose to make his gang Black. And so the Duke Mantee character, who was Humphrey Bogart, was played by a guy named Greg Morris, who did Mission Impossible a few years before that. So I was a part of that gang played Piles, and then the next year worked with Godfrey Cambridge, who was, I always think of him because I was young when he was doing Watermelon Man. And he also did The Blob. And so it was really just so exciting to get to work with him. We did a show called The Name of Room Service, and I played Timothy Hogarth. So for those 2 years, that really gave me a background in theater, and specifically working in the round, because that was what St. Ed's focus was, working in theater in the round. And so that's how I got my start, if we can, So
that certainly is an amazing start. I love what you got so far, working with some great legends from the get-go. It's just so amazing. And of course, with you being on stage and everything else, what was that one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your career?
Well, in terms, as I said, I would think it was when I was a junior and I did Second Time Around. That was the first one that made me think, wow, I think I really want to pursue acting as opposed to singing, because singing for me was like breathing. It was almost like I came out of my mom singing. All of us did, my family, we all sing and whatnot. But acting appeared to be a little more challenging for me, and I liked the challenge. So that little play, Second Time Around, that gave me a pause when I heard the audience applaud. That was it.
That certainly was amazing too. We want to make sure that was in the right moment and second time around, certainly indeed. And of course, you talk about some of the great actors you worked with, and who are some of your favorite actors, singers, songwriters, and musicians growing up?
Well, let's see. That's a good question. Some of my favorites was, of course, Stevie Wonder. I started trying to sing like him, actually, when I was 8 or 9. I also loved Aretha Franklin. I loved a guy by the name of, we called him Black Moses, but he was Isaac Hayes.
Oh, Isaac Hayes. Yes, I
Yes,
loved
yes,
Isaac
yes. I
Hayes.
loved
Yeah.
Isaac Hayes.
Shaft, he's a bad mother.
Shut
Shut your
up. You
mouth.
better shut your mouth, brother. Absolutely. So yes, Isaac Hayes was, but then of course back then too, I loved groups like the Shy Lights. I loved Elton John was one of my favorites. This was like toward the time of my high school time, But one of my favorite singers was also my mother.
Nice.
Oh yeah, she was just awesome. She would she would tear up the church because she was one of the lead soloists, and she could get our church rocking just whenever she would do solos and whatnot. And so, and I later actually played for her. But so yeah, she was one. But I had just a number of I would say a number of groups that I really, really liked. And of course, now Parliament Funkadelic. I loved Kool and the Gang. I loved Eddie Kendricks. These were people that, and in terms of actually, Mike, forming my style, I really, really, there was a guy by the name of Donny Hathaway, who I just loved because he had a gospel and a rhythm and blues sound, but really, really gospel. And it was around that time that I also started writing music for my church. So it influenced that kind of music, and so did Isaac Hayes. So yeah, that was some of my beginning and pivoting into music as well.
And you also happen to sing with a legendary group, which is kind of like an offshoot. You've been doing for 15 years. We'll talk about that. But first, you listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target. where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by me and Molson Z has garnered great reviews, and Eve 11 enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Jonah Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many else. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by me and Molson Z, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 40 podcast platforms heard in 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, Apple Music, Google Play, Pandora, TuneIn, Radio Public, also on Himalaya, the YouTube channel, also on BitChute and Robo. Make sure you subscribe to those and take us with you on any mobile device. Make sure you subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/me and Molson Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/me and Molson Zia. Also check out the Mike Wagner Show and support on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the multi-talented Peyce Byron here on the Mike Wagner Show, singer, songwriter, actor extraordinaire. And you had talked about some of your major influences. You worked with some of the major stars, but you also participated in an offshoot of the Platters called the Platters Live, and you've been lead singer for 15 years. Tell us about the Platters Live and how'd you first get involved?
Well, my agent connected me. I actually got a call from a referral from a bass player who was their bass player with the Platters Live. And she'd worked with me in my church, actually, here in LA, and referred, they were looking for a lead singer to take over, and referred me. When I got the call, Mike, I got to tell you, I thought it was a joke because I said, the Platters, they're all dead.
But you felt enchanted at the same time. So.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I found out that no, this was real and legit. And I did not really know any of their music. I had not grown up listening. You didn't hear me say the Platters, of course, I know groups that I actually listened to. But so it took me about 2 months, because I approached that the same way I do in a role or whatnot. I wanted to totally imbibe the music, because I was going to be singing music that the great Tony Williams, who was their lead for the, back in the 50s, the original Platters and whatnot, singing all those wonderful tunes. And I really wanted it to be as authentic, as possible, because that's the way that I do anything. And but eventually 2 months in, I did my first show with them in Beverly Hills, and it was just sensational. I've been singing with them ever since. And we are a tribute band, of course. As I said, the originals are dead. However, they all had their own offshoots of their Platters group back then. I didn't know this, of course, learning all the history. So even the originals had their own Platters group as well. So, but yeah, I get to sing all the wonderful Twilight Time. I get to sing Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. I get
my
to
favorite,
sing
yes.
Enchanted. I get to sing, let's see, Oh, My Prayer. That's generally a huge ovation that we get with that. So a lot of those tunes, but it's been a wonderful experience for me being a part of a legendary group in terms of all the music and the history that's there. And so I'm honored every time I get to sing any of those songs. So, yeah.
And you got us wanting to go see the Platters Live as well, too. And mind if you ask where will you be playing next, and where can we find you guys?
Well, I have no idea. I'll tell you, when wonderful COVID hit, it really affected some of the things. We are just now rebooking things that we had to, put on hold and whatnot. And so I think we're going to be somewhere local here in LA in the next couple of months. But our last gig was last month? And it was for the veterans and whatnot. And we do a lot of various private parties, things of that nature. But I think we're going to be in LA in the next couple of months.
We're certainly looking forward to that as well, too. Keep us up to date. He'll tell you the website and where you can go see the Platters live. And of course, speaking of legends, you also play a legend in as Dr. Martin Luther King, and also in one of the films as well, too. And tell us more about the film, and what was it like playing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
Well, I'll tell you, it was surreal. And at the time, I was about, I think 30 something, 31, 32. And Dr. King died, of course, when he was, I think, 38, 39. And so I wondered if I was too young to do it. But yet, at the same time, this was also a musical. So it was music with script as well. And the script was so rich with his life history. It was actually a 3.5 hour piece that I actually learned about his life because I was 11 when he died. So I, had to understand how he was thrown into this at a young age. He wasn't expecting to be the leader that he, eventually became. But the Montgomery Improvement Association, learning what that was about. So I just mentioned that to say there were so many things that I had to learn, but also in this particular piece, Rosa Parks is there. Of course, all the legends, Ralph Abernathy, all the people that were in the movement, but and a person called Stokely McCarmichael and whatnot. And so I'm mentioning them, but their connection to Dr. King, and of course, the great Coretta King, who in this piece, he called her Corey as a power to Coretta. And that was actually what he did do. So it's a beautiful love story between the two of them. And also we got to see the man, because it was King the man. And so just a lot of nuance things that we were brought up in that script. And the music was just beautiful and sometimes haunting to capture, many of the things. So we went from highs to lows and fear and depression, and yet redemption, yet resolve, so many things. And of course, how, it ended for him. But I felt honored to be selected to play him. And it was just every time that I was on stage because it ran off and on for about 2 years in various ways and various times. That I wanted to honor the piece as well as honoring Dr. King. And I did the best I could in that.
It sounds like you did the best you could. And what was the most challenging and the most difficult part, when you played Dr. Martin Luther King scene and a certain part? What was like the most difficult and challenging that you faced, and how'd you manage to overcome it?
That's a good question. And immediately, for me, the most challenging scene in King the Man was, it's a scene where Dr. King, his family, they've been getting threats for just number of weeks and whatnot. However, this particular night, this was when they had bombed the house, and Corey and the children were there, and he was not there, but he ran, raced to the house and whatnot. And his dad wanted him to leave, to just, maybe it's time for you to stop, but he had become this, he was still in his late 20s, the focus of the movement now. And this particular scene in King the Man, he is all alone. Corey and the kids, they're asleep at his dad's house, because that's where they went. And he's pacing, and he's really just asking God, how can I do this? And then while there, he gets a phone call, and where he's getting threatened, saying, we're going to kill you, N-word and all, we're coming for your wife, we're coming for you. And he's listening to this over and over, and he breaks down and just begs God, what can I do? How can I continue to do this? I need to think about my family. how can it? And in this particular time, he goes from being a man, being afraid, because it's well documented that throughout the movement, he was depressed often. But from that time to actually, he said he heard from God in this time, in this moment of destitute, and he felt that God basically put the mantle on him in his most heaviest hour and his most heaviest moment of feeling that he couldn't go on, that through those few minutes of resolve and acceptance, literally like Christ would, to accept the mantle, that he determined that no matter what came, he was going to do whatever it took to be what God had called him. And that's when he received the calling personally himself, and then went on with the mission and, of course, the movement. So that particular scene was always the hardest, but the one that done right, and thank God we did it right a lot of times. It made the audience understand that particular moment, and for the rest of the movie, I'm sorry, the theater piece. So,
and that was really moving as well too. There was also a piece about he went up against the Black Panthers. That was like the biggest challenge of all too. The Black Panthers.
Yes, he went up. Well, I mentioned Stokely Carmichael is in, and this is in this piece later on in the movement. Stokely and Dr. King had an conversation where, and in this particular piece, Stokely basically is saying to Dr. King, basically, I understand, Dr. King, I love you, and I understand that and what you believe in, nonviolence and love, but I got to tell you, and he goes on to say, the next time the white man uses guns and clubs and tear gas and horses to ride my people into the ground, to beat them senseless, I'm not going to tell them not to fight back. And he tells them, I'm not going to tell them to turn the other cheek and, run like scared little animals with their tails tucked between their legs. And Dr. King, of course, was slowly starting to have an understanding, because, of course, he was nonviolence and love. That was the opposite, of both of them. Yet, hearing Stokely, and he goes on to say, Stokely, I understand, but only love has the power to turn an enemy into a friend, and that's the way that scene ends. But that was their connection, or at least in this piece, used to represent the two different sides, and yet how they were able to try to come together, in understanding, even though they didn't quite agree with the means that Stokely, of course, who was representing the Panthers, and Dr. King, of course, the civil rights movement of nonviolence and love.
And you certainly do a good job of talking about giving love, and can also give love, which is your latest single, and also your CD, Whosoever. And you're also a really creative singer-songwriter. Tell us about that song in the CD.
The CD, Whosoever, is because I'm a follower of Christ. It's a CD to any and all people. But specifically, this particular piece was to the marginalized, because that's who I felt that Jesus came. He came to everyone, and whether you believe in him or not, which is, fine, your choice or whatever. But he said that he didn't come to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved, and that whosoever will, let them come. So that's why the title of the CD is Whosoever, and it's done in a R&B kind of dance feel, because that's my favorite kind of music, but it's gospel, and it's Peyce Byron gospel, and it's specific to let anyone who believes that they're alone or whatnot. There are various pieces on there other than Whosoever. There's Stand, there's Being Restored, back to Christ. There's Shame, meaning no shame. Jesus took the blame, things of that nature, just to remind people that wherever we are, Christ came that we might have life and have it more abundantly. And that in the way that the style of the music, which does make you want to dance, and you will dance, you want to move, because
I'm
that's
feeling
the
it
way
already.
it rocks. Yes, it does. And the, and the message rolls, with Christ and with what I call truth music set to a gospel twist. And so just to remind people that we're not alone, that we have an advocate and we have someone who loves us. And he said, whosoever will, come on, come on, come on. You can.
And certainly indeed as well too, and are catching the love. And of course, you can also catch the bus as well too. And we'll talk about the latest movie directed by his daughter Chloe Owens. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Molson's Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with singer, songwriter, and actor, the multi-talented Peyce Byron, with Catch the Bus after this time. We'll be back. We're here with the amazing, multi-talented Peyce Byron here on the Mike Wagner Show. We talked about with him being the lead singer of the Platters Live, and also winning award for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And now it's time to catch the bus. And this is a different topic, catching the bus, directed by his daughter, Chloe Owens. And it's about telling a story about a guy who wanted to be a sportscaster. So tell us more about that one, Catching the Bus.
Yes, well, Catch the Bus is a short written, as you said, by my daughter, Chloe Owens. And the main character who I play is sportscaster. He has an interesting background. He is a person who I say is determined. He knows who he is. And he's asked to audition for this role of a sportscaster. And the role that I play is James. And so James goes to this audition and is basically, he doesn't know it, but basically sized up for a no by the casting director as soon as he walks in. And then it is basically him being the determined man that he is to say that he is going to do the best that he can in doing his audition. And he's basically told he could do two takes. The first one, as they call it, straight, and then the next one he could improvise. And the casting director says, oh no, the first one is fine. And then it's basically a tug of war back and forth between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. That certainly is amazing too. And could you imagine yourself as a sportscaster in a way as well? That's what it sounds like here. So,
well, Mike, sportscasters can, being a sports fan, of course, everyone makes it their own. Everybody has their own style. When it's still on the page, it's still, you've got to read what's there, but you generally make it your own. Yes, of course I could. And the interesting thing is that's exactly what James in Catch the Bus does. He makes it his own. And to do that, you've got to have chutzpah. You've got to have a mindset that you really feel pretty good about who you are, and confident, so it's basically seeing him do that. But yes, sportscasters are very, very, and Mike, one of my favorite sportscasters was guy by the name of Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell, yes, Monday Night Football. Yeah. Howard Cosell. And speaking of sports, oh my gosh, you know what? I think I remember watching that first Monday Night Football game, Jim Brown, Cleveland Browns, 1970. It's like, yeah. I must have been like just past kindergarten and looking for something to watch. Oh, football's on Monday night? It's like they play on Sundays, and it's a head scratcher, but it's been successful with them doing it. Oh gosh, like half a century just about.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes. And it's taken its own form. It's, stretch over the years and whatnot. And of course, now we got Monday, Thursday night football, and of course Sunday. So, but it's all good. But the sportscasters now, and in the film, actually, I loved how it's really, there's a lot of background to when James is doing his thing in the film. and it just was really, really well. I don't want to talk so much about my daughter, but it's hard not to because I'm so proud of her.
Oh, I was gonna just talk about your daughter. I'm glad you brought it up. How's it like with her directing the film, and what'd you like to see happen for her as a writer and director in the future?
Well,
What was it like?
it was very exciting to be directed from her. And by the way, I had no idea she was even writing this because she wrote it and whatnot. And she tells me, Dad, I've written something I want you to do and whatnot, and blah, blah, blah. And then when I read the screenplay of the short, I was like, just wow, just so blown away. But I mean, I've read things that she's done before, and of course, but being directed by her was just the 5 minutes before we actually started to shoot. I don't know what it was, Mike, but something she did or something, because I'm in place and I look out and she does something. Man, I had to keep it together because all of a sudden I saw, instead of director Chloe, I saw baby girl Chloe. And I got so emotional that it just, whoo. I said, okay, come on, suck it up, come on. Because no, not just professional, but she's awesome. She is just awesome. And that's my baby girl. And so now I got to do my thing. And so I did. But it's just been so wonderful. And I'm so proud of her.
And certainly an amazing job as well, too. And what's the message of the film, and how do you relate to your character, James? Like, what's the message you want to just get out of the film?
Well, I'll tell you, the message, I think, because it's a short, and there's a possibility it's going to be more than that, but as an actor, a performer, at least the way that I work, I take it from the page to build whatever this character is. James knows who he is. He is a professional. He is resilient, and he's confident with whatever he's going to do. So that's the guy that we see in the film. However, the way he gets there, he's open to that to be, and that's again where the mindset of confidence comes from him. But and I don't know if you asked me if I relate to that or whatnot, but I do, in terms of that's the way that I live. I'd like to think that I do. Age is just a number, and we get that from James, from the script, and I certainly, as Peyce Byron, identify with that as well. So yeah.
And certainly amazing and doing a great job, Peyce. And where can we find Catch a Bus and your latest CD and all your works at Peyce?
Well, now you can find my CD on iTunes, Amazon, all the music outlets. Again, it's called Whosoever by Peyce Byron. That's Peyce Byron, Byron. You can give love as well, a single that's on iTunes as well. Catch the Bus is going to be released at some point. It's playing the festivals right now, and that's how, and as I said, as you mentioned, we won awards, and that's been so awesome in that. But eventually, I think at some point this year it will be released, and it's my understanding they're looking at making it into a feature. So
that would be very nice as well. Looking forward to it. We're the singer, songwriter, actor, multi-talented Peyce Byron here on the Mike Wagner Show at Catch the Bus as well, part of the Hollywood Real Independent Film Fest, along with some CDs and his works, and just a few more moments here. And I'd love to have you back on. And what else can we expect from you in 2023 and beyond, Peyce?
Well, for me, 2023, I am working on new music, and of course, we'll be with the Platters, and also working on something that I'm not saying what it is yet, but I'm keeping that under it. It's not creative. It's just I'm working on something personal that is, but very, very special to me and quite exciting. But in the creative world, it's more of Catch the Bus if we were going to work on that this year or whatnot. But specifically, the Platters will be my focus for this year.
We're certainly looking forward to it, and a very enchanting time indeed as well. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
My biggest influence in my career at this point would probably be one of my coaches. I could say family members because they've been very interested, but my coach and mentor, who I'm also a part of in an organization called TPN, that works in, we actually help companies save money on energy bills. So that's a side gig apart from the creative portion. But the reason why he's a mentor is because of the mindset speaks to all that I live in terms of, basically, I'll put it this way. For things to change, I must change. For things to get better, I must get better. If it is to be, it begins with me. For God has equipped me with all things to be successful. Success loves speed, momentum, and massive action. The treasure's out there, Mike. I'll find it. It's gonna be worth it. That kind of mindset is the way that I live in all things. So,
and definitely a great mindset. I love that thinking. I love it as well. I'm going to remember that. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Don't let anyone's opinion of you become your reality. You be you. You do you. Believe in yourself, believe in your goals, believe in your dreams, and do the work, and all things are possible if you believe.
And certainly believe as well. All things possible. Those are great words, Peyce. Once again, we're with Peyce Byron, singer, songwriter, actor, the multi-talented from Catch the Bus here on the Mike Wagner Show. Peyce, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? And where can people purchase or check out your works, especially Catch the Bus?
Well, PeyceByron.com, and that's PeyceByron.com. And Catch the Bus is going to be having its own website at some point. But I understand Chloe's working on that. But as I said, any of places on Amazon, iTunes, you can catch my music, as well as YouTube. There, just Google me and you'll find me. Peyce Byron, Peyce Byron.
We will certainly do that as well. Once again, Peyce, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. Wish you all the best. And Peyce, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Pleasure to be with you.